Bingo, Valvaro, Carpator, Quahuli, Carpator, Mazzuli, Carpator, Pando, Binakram, Valvaro, Kimball, Ambazuli, Kimball, Yafig, Zarch.
Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another Create a Sim and introduction video. So this time I'm doing a musically themed sim. Part of the reason for this is because recently I downloaded this lot called Hawthorne Trailer Park, created by Silrose, who you may otherwise know as Jenba on Twitter and Tumblr. And if you've seen that lot, it's basically a trailer park where it has this very artsy vibe to it, especially for Sims who are musically inclined, and I was like, okay, yeah, this looks awesome, I gotta fill this with some of my own Sims, although I do plan on keeping Johnny Zest in there because the lot was made for that place, and yeah, I don't have any plans on getting rid of Johnny, so yeah, I'm gonna have him still live there, and then have some of my own Sims in there as well. So the first Sim that I have created for this trailer park is Lyric, who is a Lindsey Stirling-inspired violinist, and that's an idea I've had in the back of my head for quite a while. And yeah, I'm really glad that I finally have an excuse to do it. But I did do a little bit of a twist because, well, you can't really do violin and dancing at the same time, unfortunately, in The Sims 4. And, well, I thought, oh, maybe I can make it so that she can be a singer and a violinist, although I didn't realize until after finishing creating her that you cannot sing and violin at the same time either. That's just with the other instruments, like the piano and the guitar. So I was like, oh, well. So hopefully you liked that kind of music video inspired opening I did at the start. I thought that would be kind of a cool twist to the usual sorts of intros that I do for my Create a Sim videos. And with this Create a Sim, I didn't want it to be like a recreation of Lindsey Stirling as a Sim. I just want it to be an original Sim that's inspired by her style. So I had to go and watch a few of her music videos again because I was like, okay, she's done so many styles, which one do I go with? And then I got inspired by the outfit that Lindsey Stirling wore for the cover of her album Brave Enough, and I was like, yep, okay, that's it, I'm doing it. I definitely want to do it, especially since the top that she wore reminds me a lot of one of the ones that we got with the Vampires game pack. The only problem I've had with that top, as much as I love it, is that, well, I'm gonna be real here. With the skin overlay that I use, well, it's not a skin overlay, it's more of just like a detail that changes the cleavage on the women to be more realistic. Using that top from Vampires with it makes a little bit of nipple show. Not a lot, but I figured, you know, okay, I think I want to avoid that for a YouTube video. So thankfully, I have these accessory bras that made it so that you can't really see that anymore. So I had to decide which one to go with, and yeah, the one that I went with I think is still okay. It doesn't take away much from how the top looks, but yeah, it still makes it so that it's at least PG-13. And with the name, I thought Lyric was a fairly obvious name to go with since she is partially a singer. And with the last name Larkin, I think, if I remember correctly, Larkin came up as a random last name through the name generator, and then I was like, oh, I like that alliteration, and then I looked up the meaning of it, and it seems like it can mean silent or fierce, and could be used as a nickname for a brave warrior, which I can totally imagine Lyric being, so that's kind of how that all came together. As for Lyric's backstory, she comes from a fairly rich family who really enjoys theater, and while Lyric does still have an appreciation for that, as she started to reach her teenage years, she ended up having more of an interest in music than theater. And instead of trying to inherit her parents' theater, she wanted to really set out on her own and make a name for herself. So she ended up at the Hawthorne Trailer Park where it was cheap for her to start out, and yeah, now she's set off on her own path. And with her personality, she has the dance machine, music lover, and loner traits. And I know this sounds kind of crazy, especially since I've had Sims 4 since launch, but I'm pretty sure she's the first sim that I've ever used the loner trait on. I guess it's because a lot of my sims are fairly social, so I don't want them to get negative moodlets around other sims. But with Lyric, I thought she'd be the kind of sim where, while socially she is quite a loner and doesn't enjoy talking to other sims too much, it becomes a bit of a different story once she starts expressing herself through her music. And of course I had to choose the musical genius aspiration. That was a pretty obvious pick. Going back to her fashion, I really enjoyed choosing her everyday outfit. I'm glad that dress from Vintage Glamour Stuff went really well with the outfit, and I've never been able to really use those open-heeled boots. They are kind of unusual, but yeah, I'm really glad that I finally got to use that as well. And with the hair, I just had it there as a thing so I can easily see the front of her body, but then I ended up keeping it. I knew I wanted it to be a long hair, but I was like, yeah, actually that suits her really well. Her formal wear is a bit of an odd one. It's not really what she usually wears, but I figured it was kind of an interesting opportunity to let her more classical side show through. And with her sleepwear, I thought I'd go with something just fairly short, simple, and comfortable. Though I realized partway through that yeah, I'd like to have a different tattoo for her than the one that Babs has. I also end up realizing in a minute here that I forgot to use the 3D lashes that I normally use, as well as changing up the makeup for some of the outfits, especially taking it off for the sleepwear and the swimwear too, of course. It was a little difficult for me to decide the makeup because I had like this custom makeup that gave it like a spider web sort of look, but I figured nah, that was too much, so I went with something a bit simpler but still something that really has like a distinct sense of style to it. And I almost forgot that I do end up changing her hairstyle for the sleepwear because I like doing that. Like, I usually like, even if I don't change up the hairstyle for most of the outfits, for the sleepwear I like having something that's a little bit more loose, a little bit more comfortable. I know I'm starting to say comfortable a lot in this video, but yeah, I always think of sleepwear as just an opportunity to let your hair hang loose a little bit more, or in some cases tie it up a little bit so that it's not all over your face as you sleep. Since Lyric has pretty long hair, I went with the latter option. Sometimes it can be challenging to pick a hair for a different outfit though, because you don't want it to be like her having suddenly much shorter hair in one outfit compared to another. Then it just seems a little bit unrealistic. But now I'm choosing her party wear, and again I wanted to go with something a bit more loose, and it still kind of fits with the style that she's going for, but not as much of a goth theme as her everyday wear. And with her swimwear, that was a little bit difficult because initially I was thinking, okay, I'll give her an outfit with fishnet in it, but I don't know, I felt like it didn't quite work out for some reason at the time, but I ended up going with a one-piece swimsuit that has cherries on it. I don't know, I was just really feeling the cherries. I think it still actually kind of goes with the typical colors that she wears, but yeah, it's a little bit more upbeat than her other stuff. And now we are starting to get towards the end of her creation. It was a little bit of a challenge to choose her walk style as well, because I felt like a lot of the walk styles in the game suit her. So in the end I chose the tough walk style, because yeah, I can just imagine her walking around being like, oh yeah, I'm so tough, I can take anyone on. But overall, I really loved making Lyric, and I think she turned out really well. I think I'm going to enjoy playing as her a lot, and I think she'd actually be a good friend for Aqua, who is a punk rocker sim that I did in a video quite a while back. So Lyric's not the first musically themed sim that I've done, and I don't plan on it being the last either, since I do want to make at least 1 or 2 more sims for this trailer that I've downloaded. So Yeah, I think that will be really fun. I'm thinking maybe a pianist, and we'll see how that goes. But hopefully you enjoyed seeing her creation process and hearing the backstory that I've made for her. She will be in the save that I record my Let's Plays in, so you might see her pop up once or twice, or maybe she could even take on a bigger role later. I mean, that's kind of what happened with October, my autumn-inspired sim, so yeah, maybe if they end up doing a game pack that revolves around bands, like, she'd be a prime candidate for that theoretical series, so yeah, now I'm actually kind of hoping that happens. But that's pretty much it, so be sure to leave a like or comment or even subscribe because it lets me know that you like my channel, my videos, and helps you keep up to date more easily with the latest content from me. I do videos on The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more, so I will talk to you all later, and have a great day! Thanks for watching!